right, hello everyone at home. Welcome to our QWR Nature News with Mr. Tony, your environmental educator and artist today. Raise your hand at home if you're an artist or a creative thinker. All right, everyone has creativity inside, but a lot of times that creativity can be used for something more than just creating beautiful pictures. It can be used to study nature and also study things up close that you're passionate about and share with others. So today's adventure, are you ready for this? Who here at home loves owls? We're going to study a very special species on Long Island called the Eastern Screech Owl. You'll get to meet one up close today, and hopefully you have your pencils and pads handy at home so you can actually sketch with Mr. Tony today. During the program, you can ask questions at the end, but with this program, we get to study one of the birds of prey that are alive and doing very well on Long Island, but are nocturnal. So who at home would like to meet one of those cool creatures today?
Me!
All right, very good. So we'll start with learning about our inspiration. Now, many artists from Audubon to Peterson have studied birds of prey and other creatures like that, and we get to see them in amazing bird guides and other things that I'll share with you later. But you can't have art without inspiration, and that includes, for a lot of people, nature and our environment. Here we go. Let's see how you guys doing today. There we go.
Ooh.
All right. Who can say hello to our little Eastern Screech Owl? This one is a very, I was going to say beautiful, but he's a handsome Eastern Screech Owl male. And if you look at his coloration, he is a different color than the ones on the table. They're born in 3 different color phases. So you usually have a red phase, a brown phase, and a gray phase. And if you look at him, you'd think, well, that's a baby owl. Is that true at home? No. This is a full-grown Eastern Screech Owl, so it's about 6 to 7 inches fully grown. And when I turn around, you can see he's got this plumage, beautiful feathers, that blends in perfectly with a tree. And who knows at home what that word is to blend in with your surroundings so well it can't be seen? Very good. Camouflage. So camouflage is their best defense. And when you think about a small bird like this, you're like, well, they're out here in our wild woods and our backyards. Where are they living? Well, the spot that they're usually around in are these cool things called cavity nests. Cavity nests are old trees that usually have holes that are just large enough for small creatures like screech owls. And also we have woodpeckers, even flying squirrels. Oh, she's like, how much for renting that apartment? Even flying squirrels are back on Long Island living in these cool cavity nests along with other amazing creatures. So this bird teaches us an important lesson about our environment, which is preserve what we have left. Those trees that are old and growing, and people think, oh, they're going to fall on my house or car, we're going to knock everything down. Well, that's not always the case. We should preserve them for those creatures because they have a job to do. So, cavity nesting 101, save the trees, right? Give a hoot on that one too. Now, when you look at their feathers, one cool thing people notice about their anatomy is these neat feathers on the top of their heads. You see those cool feathers? Like, oh, those are horns, or those are their ears. Well, that's not true. Those are actually his feather tufts. And those are specialized feathers that sit at the top of his head like horns almost. But I believe they not only help them to camouflage better, but they can also help redirect sound waves to where their ears are. And that brings us to how they hunt at night, using a great sense of listening. And their ears are found on the sides of their heads. One's high and one's low, so they have asymmetrical hearing. And they can pinpoint a mouse over 90 feet away. I wish I could do that. What'd you say? So with these cool critters, they not only have great sense of hearing, which makes them wise like an owl, but their eyes are incredible at night too. And when you're drawing an animal, that's very important to look at. The eyes are the windows to the soul. And when you study an animal's eyes, especially a screech owl, their eyes are so large, it takes up most of their skull. Their eyes are incredibly big, so that's the most important part or adaptation when they're hunting at night. Look at those cool eye orbs that hold those eyes in place. Each eyeball is held in place by a small cup, which is called an eye orb, and that keeps them in place so they can stay looking steady and strong forward, but also bringing as much light in as they hunt at night. Now, even though he looks like the cutest original little Furby doll, this is a voracious little hunter or predator, right? He's got a tiny little beak right here, and around that beak he has these feather-like whiskers, and he can swallow a mouse whole. They can gulp them down one after another. So at night they're eating all types of little rodents, even nocturnal moths and bugs and beetles, things like that. So this little creature can eat a lot of food in a night, so we need them in our ecosystem. He also has incredible talents. Not talents like at home with your artistic ability you're going to share with us today, but his talents are his sharp claws on his feet. So that's an important thing to study too. All right. Any questions about our really cool owl before he goes into his box? One thing I wanted to share with you also, when an owl eats those cool creatures, what does he pop up the next day? Pretty tasty. Just kidding. This is his little tiny owl pellet, all condensed hair and bones, fur and bones that he can't eat. Can't digest, so that gets coughed up the next day. So even little screech owls, like the great horned and other birds of prey, cough up their little owl pellets.
Pellet.
Yep. Don't eat them at home like we always say. All right. So let's begin a little sketch with our special friend here. You guys ready? Everyone have their pencils handy? And your markers maybe, or you can even use colored pencils and your sketch pads. Now, whoa, is he going to cough up a pellet for us now?
Oh, let's see. Whoa, and we have one question too, Tony, and maybe I'll ask it after this.
I'm waiting.
So, yeah, sometimes when they open their mouths like that, it means that they're going to regurgitate a pellet. And it does look like he's focusing.
Oh, let's see. Let's see. Let's give him a second there.
And a great question while we're waiting, why is he with us here at the refuge?
That's a great question. So as everyone knows, the refuge is not a zoo. These are not animals just taken out of the wild. These birds of prey were brought in with head injuries. Whoop, there we go. With head injuries where they no longer could hunt on their own. And just think of the sheer wind. This bird only weighs a couple of ounces. So just the same as a small tangerine. Them sitting on the side of the road, maybe he's done regurgitating inside his mouth. But these little birds, think of this. As humans, we affect our environment and the food chain and everything in so many ways. And one of those is people throwing food out of their car windows. Just throwing a piece of chicken nugget or something out there brings in those rodents, which brings in these birds of prey too close to the road. Now, a car going 70 miles an hour, the sheer wind can tumble these little birds. And if they get hit really hard, rolling around, they get hit in the head, they get really bad brain damage. Very bad brain damage. And when that happens, they're unable to hunt on their own, and they have issues. So even that is something we can change. Don't throw your food out of the window. It can harm animals in other ways, too.
Yeah, great question, though. Yeah. We really did think he was going to regurgitate a pellet there.
That was close. Oh, it would have been our greatest day.
But it will happen.
Now, ours at home, I need your help. I need some simple shapes. What are some simple shapes that make the world around us? Simple shapes. Let's see. Well, we have my favorite, circles. We have ovals, right? And what I'm going to do is bring this in with some marker in a little bit. And we have triangles, squares. But what happens in art is you take flat shapes like those and turn them into forms. So we're going to start with our basic shapes first. Here we go. I'll start with my basic circle shape. Here we go. And a basic oval shape, just outlining it very gently. See how lightly I draw? Let's see. I want to add this triangular. What are those things called on the top? Those feather tufts, right? Maybe more circles. His eyes. Look at that. 2 circles for his eyes. Here we go. Mr. Tony's trying to be steady here. Lines where this comes down. Here we go. We don't want to make him too angry, right? And what shape is his beak? Triangle also. Here we go. He's like, all right, get my good side here. This spot where his ear is, right? And what are those things in the center of his eyes called? You're being a good one of these right now. Called a pupil, right? So don't forget the pupil is one of the things that focuses the eye. You want that dead in the center. So circle for the eye. What I like to do as a trick is add another circle for the reflection in his eye. And we can get in there with a little close-up. These beautiful little... There we go. That gives him the emotion that he needs. There we go. I feel like Bob Ross here. Happy little owls.
Nice.
There we go. Now, with the feather work, you can get creative with lines, right? You have curved lines, you have jagged lines, you have wavy lines, right? Add like a wing feather here. Those curved lines. Feathers are just curved lines overlapping over each other to get the look you want. Whoop. There we go. So I'm going to put him away right now. We'll finish our drawing together with a different type of bird study, which brings us to Audubon. Can everyone say, "I'll see you soon, my friend, my little owl friend"?
buddy.
Say bye, guys. Who are you? Who do you work for? There we go. Good job.
All right.
He's been patient for a while, but we can do the details based on what's called a taxidermy. You doing okay?
Yeah.
All
I
right.
just want to show the taxidermy.
Now, think of this. Back in the day, they didn't have photography. And to sit there and draw a live animal would take too much patience from the animal because they'd have to fly away. But back in the day, men like Audubon, James Audubon, would take taxidermies or other birds that he would find, and he'd study them feather by feather. It was like a science. So we could do that today as well. Just by looking at this taxidermy, we could see every feather lined out, right? And again, simple shapes, you can draw anything. So let me just show you. For this, we'll finish this guy. Maybe we'll add some little toes on him, right? Curved lines for his toes. I'll add his talons in here very quickly. There we go. And you want him sitting on something, so we're going to add a happy little tree, right? Here we go, happy little tree. Here's his branch. Curved lines. And I want you to be as creative as you can at home with this. You can add him into any mystical background that you want, any creative scenery that you have in your mind. Is there any wrong answers in art? No, right? 2 + 2 = 4. We know that with math, but with art, your creativity can take you anywhere. And no one can ever say you're wrong about it. And that's the beauty of art. Always remember that when you're creating at home. Everyone has that ability. So we have this cool, there we go, maybe some leaf work coming around. And just simple lines, you see that? Coming together. Now you can even get a picture at home if you want to add details to yours and study it really closely as well. Because you probably don't have a screech owl sitting at your house. But this is just the beginning. You could do any type of bird or creature like this. With this bird, very quickly, watch this. Circle, oval, almost like a rectangular type of shape coming out this way, right? I'm going to add a flared out tail for him when he's flying. Watch this. Triangle. You can even make the noise. Everyone at home, make the noise of the owls. Well, that brings us actually, most owls we think say, who? This owl says, ready for this? Sounds like a horse whinnying an alien. Kara and I will both do this. Ready? If you hear that outside, it's not an angry horse trying to get in your house. It's a screech owl.
Screech owl.
How's yours, Kara?
Okay, I'm going to try to do mine.
See, like a cute little horse whinny. There we go. Now those details later on, start with your simple shapes, but those details later on is what brings the whole picture together. You'll be able to draw anything one day based on these techniques of just doing simple lines and outlines first, right? And your artwork will tell a story of something that you love. So pick your favorite animal at home maybe, right? And study it up close. You might learn some more important things about yourself as a human based on what your animal traits are, or the animal that you love, their traits are. Here we go. There's those curved lines. See how Mr. Tony does his flight feathers, right? We have our primary feathers, our secondary feathers. They go in layers, absolutely beautiful. And tertiary feathers, right? These even have our down feathers hiding in there too. Pretty cool. Everyone doing well? All right. Now, I used to get so relaxed watching Bob Ross and other artists draw. I don't know if you're falling asleep at home. Hopefully not. But there's something magical about artwork. You're turning nothing into something. In the beginning, you might have seen a polar bear in a snowstorm on our white piece of paper. But now, you might see all of your creatures coming to life with what you've just studied. And let's add a cool moon in the back here. There we go.
Ooh,
Yeah, maybe
I
some
love it.
more trees coming together. See that? Wiggly lines. And we tell the story of the screech owl in flight. Here's mom and dad here ready to get their nest going.
Nice.
In there, let's see, cavity nest, which is hiding right back here. And this is called composition. There we go. The cavity nest is going to be hiding right back here with this tree. So this is how you compose something. Up and down is a vertical composition. Side to side, that's called portrait, up and down. Side to side is horizontal or a landscape composition. So you want to know where you want to place your subject to make it fit. Now, Any questions on that so far?
Yeah, feel free to ask any questions in the chat we can get to. I just want to show you as well, we have this beautiful mural here too. Will we find a screech owl in here, Tony? No.
Hiding in the back corner of the tree is a screech owl.
Oh my gosh.
But we have some really cool species.
Screech
owls back here. Who knows this bird at home? Beautiful red bird. Everyone's seen this. The red cardinal, that's the boy. Beautiful. We have our red-tailed hawk. Now, Mr. Tony started painting this years and years ago, and it was a great study. There's our osprey, but it was meant to show people and kids, as an I Spy, what creatures we have right here at Birds on Long Island. Northern oriole. Everyone knows this one. He's pecking the frame of the wood. There's our downy woodpecker. And these two beautiful ones you're going to see right now. I just put my feeders up yesterday. The ruby-throated hummingbird. Only species of hummingbird on Long Island that we get to see. The boy has the red. The girl camouflages better with the greens and browns. These two ones are barn swallows, right? So your art can also teach people. When I first started here, one of my first things I got to share was doing one of these simple things with a pencil sketch, pen and ink, and then watercolor. So you can transfer your drawing skills into painting skills, into sculpture skills. So this showed the local ones that we have, and people can use this as a guide at home. You can be your own guide artist. Peterson was one of those artists also. He did a full book of every single type of bird that you could see through North America.
Nice.
So this is where your skills really can come in to teach people and make a difference. I'll share a couple of other ones for inspiration as you're working. One of my favorite birds of prey. This is our American bald eagle. And this was a sketch of Mr. Uncle Sam. And it was a watercolor, but it was also turned into a t-shirt. So your art can also be wearable. Art doesn't have to just sit in a drawer somewhere or on a wall. You can share it with others and wear it and share that. Keep sharing that message. This one's my favorite friend right here. Other one.
Nice.
My nocturnal friend. That's Hooter. And you'll see not just the sketch of him, but you can see hidden animals in the bark texture. So you can be very creative. This is a universe that you can make and explore on your own.
Yeah.
All right.
Linda has a question. Does Tony do the art for our t-shirts here at the Refuge?
Yes, most of them I do. For many years, it's been my honor and pleasure to share my artwork on the t-shirts for the kids, and the camp kids get their t-shirt every year. So it's going on about 10 years now. Yep. So it's been a very special thing to share with people.
Yeah.
So you can put in your ideas too as far as what types of shirt. Actually, this year, we're working on a new idea.
Ooh.
Celebrating our crows,
which
are two different types. We have American crow, we have our fish crow, and that's a little preview of our sketch. So it all starts with an idea, paper, pencil, and then comes to life. This is a different one there.
Nice. Anyone know what that is?
What creature is this one?
That nocturnal mammal. It's a possum.
Yep, Virginia opossum, and we love to celebrate them here. So every animal has a special place in our hearts, and every animal can teach us something. There's one girl named Olivia that I'll never forget. A long time ago, there was a BP oil spill, and that oil spill had started wiping out a lot of wetland birds. They were covered in oil. It was destroying a lot of creatures, and she said, as an 8-year-old girl, I'm going to make a difference. Well, how? And it starts with using your time and talents in the best way. She said, I'll draw a picture and paint all the birds that are getting affected by this and try to sell them online. Well, with her parents' help, she sold over $200,000 worth of paintings to raise money in efforts to help these animals get saved. So when someone says, I can't make a difference, it's not true. You can, and it doesn't matter what age you are. Your artwork, your music, your dance, your stories, your poetry, your creativity can inspire the world. Just don't hide it. And that's our main point for today's lesson as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, one last step before you finish off, and then we can answer another question. When you have an artwork, what do you put at the bottom to finalize it so they know who made it? Your signature. So make sure you put your Bob Ross or John Hancock signature on the bottom. And I like to also tell my students, always put the year or the date that you created the work. I almost forgot what year it was. I was going to write 2010. Here we go. 2020 and the month number there, just so I go back in time and I'm like, wow, that was an improvement from back
close
then.
up.
So Your signature is something you want to work on as an artist that is like your stamp. That says, this is my work. Now, this doesn't have to stay this way. It can be watercolor painted next time, right? Even, let's see, look above you. You can create it into three-dimensional pieces, like this cool osprey kite, right? So the possibilities truly are endless. Does anyone have any questions at this time?
Yeah, any questions? I saw you guys got possum right. Excellent job.
Very good. All right. And another thing is, I always say this, make sure you recycle things. You can be the owl that makes a difference. This whole mask right here is made out of my chicken's feathers, an old pair of glasses, and some cupcake bottoms for this part to create this cool owl mask. So use your American ingenuity, your creativity, and take trash into treasure as well. All right? So if you don't have any questions, you can always feel free to ask us in the future. Keep continuing to watch these live programs because it really is reaching out and making a difference to kids and communities. And just make sure you get out and about in a safe way during this time. If you want to take your sketchbook out into the refuge, you can sit here at one of our beautiful bench areas overlooking the water and do nature sketching or watercolor painting that way. Go to the beach and do some studies, or even in your own backyard. Hopefully you have some bird feeders. You can study those birds right there. And those nature studies come right from the heart. You have to really jump right in there. So I'm giving you guys a round of applause for doing a great job when you're sketching at home. I'd love to see them one day. And everyone, I hope you stay well. And once again, we're here to answer any questions.
Yeah, and we will have more animals on QWR Nature News Tuesdays and Thursdays at 1 p.m. on Facebook Live. So we will definitely have some more animals for you guys to meet next week. And I hope you have a great weekend.
Yeah. Pick up some nature things along the way and sketch rocks, feathers, leaves, or anything else. And spend time with the family doing it. At a safe distance, of course.
Okay. Oh, great question. From Carla, what do owls eat?
Oh, very good. So I always start off with saying chicken nuggets, but that's not true. So a lot of owls, especially the little ones, they eat small rodents. So lots of them start with small things like moles, voles, mice, rats. And then for the other ones, the little ones, they can go up to beetles and moths and insects. But the larger ones can go up to things like raccoons, opossums, snakes, and even other owls or other birds. Mm-hmm. So the list goes on and on. I've even heard of feral cats being in the diet of the great horned owl. So they're one of our top apex predators, the great horned owls, that do their work at nighttime. Even bats, of course, are in that menu as well since they are nocturnal. So a lot of nocturnal creatures fit in those talents.
Yeah, great question,
that's
though.
A good question.
Absolutely. All right. Well, we'll keep checking our chat for more questions, but with that being said, thank you guys and have a great weekend.
Stay creative, everybody.